Hey everyone! Hopefully everybody's doing very well out there still. It has been a while again, but in this video I'm gonna take you through the steps of setting up the individual ball pieces on your guitar's pickup. This could be a Humbucker style Gibson type of guitar like a Les Paul, an SG, that sort of thing, but the principle stands for pickups in general, as long as you can set up the individual ball pieces. And there is a funny little philosophy going on, and why setting up the ball pieces in this visually kind of an offset manner actually works and provides us the balance we are actually looking for. So let's get into it. So in the early days of electric guitar, we didn't have solid body guitars just yet, but neither did we have these really overdriven distorted guitar sounds. So let's say in the 1930s we had our hollow body jazz guitars, or hollow body guitars, which still had an acoustic top, because its function was still to sound like an acoustic instrument in, let's say, a small orchestra or even a big band. So when you would play these guitars electric, to convert these to electric guitars with, for instance, a floating pickup like Django Reinhardt would do on the Selmer, you would run into feedback sitting next to an amplifier of some sort. And you would not be able to play these guitars above a certain sound ceiling. Now, to reduce the feedback that would come from having a different sound source next to the guitar itself, the laminated top was invented at the cost of a little bit of acoustic volume, and that would make it possible to play these hollow body guitars electrically with a magnetic pickup. Like for instance the Gibson ES-175, which is the older, more luxurious sister of one of the most sold jazz guitars of all time, the Gibson ES-125. And don't forget the famous Charlie Christian guitar, the ES-150, with his famous Charlie Christian style pickup, which wasn't named Charlie Christian pickup back in the day. Anyway, eventually, to reduce feedback even more, or as an attempt to eliminate it altogether, the electric solid body guitar was invented with the Telecaster, or let's say first the Fender Broadcaster in 1950 and the Les Paul in 1952. Rumor has it though that this funny looking Bixby guitar from the 40s something, suspiciously shaped like a Les Paul, was actually first. What do you think? Leave a comment if you have a thought on this. Now, the string gauges that an electric guitar came with was just what a standard electric string gauge was at the time, which was not exactly the typical 10 gauge you would put on it today. This number 10 or number 1500 string gauge back in the day is what we would call a 13 string gauge today. You also had the so-called ground wound type of strings, which had slightly reduced winding profile, so not exactly flat wounds, but let's say in between, and you would have your flat wounds. It was definitely a common thing that solid body guitars got flat wound strings from the factory. So this is my 52 style Telecaster with a Bixby slapped on it. Currently it's set up with the typical 10 gauge strings, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens if you put these super heavy brake lines on the guitar. So I might do that in another video, slap some 13 flat wound strings on it with a round G string, and to see how that feels. I suppose it's going to be really heavy and stiff in the beginning, but if you get used to it, set it up accordingly to the string's tension, this might provide us an authentic Telecaster feeling. Who knows, we'll see that later on. Please leave a comment if you have tried setting up your Telecaster in this kind of a way. So when the devil's music, rock and roll, was invented, and the bending of strings became super popular and common in playing style, guitarists would take a, let's say, 0.09 or 0.010 gauged steel banjo string and put that for a high E. And then shift over the strings towards the low end. So your old high E, the 13, became B string. The old B string, the 17, became a G string. So we'd have a plain steel G string. And you would discard your low E. So now you would have a sort of a light gauge 10 string guitar set, which we know today. And of course, when the demand was there, the manufacturing followed quickly. Turning the guitar culture on to what we would call today, or what is common to us today, the so-called standard light electric guitar string set with a plain non-wound G string. Plain G string, non-wound G string, why the hell does it matter? You see, in the early string gauges, they were designed to provide a more or less acoustic balance, and later on to provide a more or less acoustic balance over a non-adjustable electric guitar pickup. And we are not even talking yet about what the radius would mean for the string's individual balance above the non-adjustable pickup. But in the realm of the early electric guitar or the jazz guitar, you wouldn't play 6 string chords anyway, would you? If you listen to a 10 gauge string set, let's say on the Telecaster with the even pick attack, even strum, I cannot deny the feeling that the G string tends to stick out a little bit. because it's a plain steel string instead of a wound one. I think the plain steel sounds a bit louder by design than a wound one, so it sticks a bit out by design, just by mass. So does your low E, and depending on the string's radius, it will even more. It does so with a clean and honest sound, but multiply that with all the good stuff coming from the harmonic distortion and from an amplifier, it's definitely going to be a factor. The D string tends to be a little bit on the weak side due to mass, and especially noticeable on a Telecaster with the vintage 7.5 radius specs and a non-adjustable pickup with flat pole pieces. Now each guitar is different, each pickup is different, each guitarist is different, and we can debate endlessly about an element of personal taste. How we unconsciously even compensate our picking attack probably in our brain. I know I do compensate my picking attack when I run a scale down like that vertically. Maybe we always unconsciously balance our picking attack and balance out like that. But wouldn't it be a better feeling if we got it just right, and it would just all feel really wonderful, and we feel more confident and free up our creative space in our playing? I thought so. Let's try to get there. Let's take this Les Paul. The pole pieces are not yet set up individually. They are more or less flush against the pickup cover, and the height of the pickups is already adjusted. They are balanced, and they are more or less flush against the pickup rings, which is common in the 59 reissues because of the high pickup rings. Okay, let's listen to it first, as you don't want to go do anything by default. I plugged into a Princeton reverb to get a bit of a realistic amplifier's response. You can do this in a DI situation as well, but in the end you're going to listen to it through an amplifier, so it's going to be best to do the setup through an amplifier. First we're going to play the strings open bluntly like a bit of a dumbass to demonstrate something. Nah. I'm going to do that again, and please listen to the ring out and see if you can identify the individual strings upon the ring out and see what's left. Definitely a super fat low E and that nagging G string. Now I'm going to do it from top to bottom to see if we get different results. Nah. And that super fat low E. So yeah, in case of that open string strum situation, we can definitely hear an overbearing low E and a nagging G string. When it comes to chords in this particular setup, doesn't sound wrong or bad at all. That's not what this is about. But because of a possible imbalance, what we put into it, what we feel into it, and what gets translated by the amplifier and then our ears can perhaps be more pleasant and improved. So yeah, let's take a look at both pickups again, set up the individual pole pieces, and see if we can end up with a setting that feels more in check and more balanced to our ears. And then hopefully we can provide a better sound into our signal chain, just optimizing our signal chain, optimizing the instrument, which in return is going to hopefully help us both improving and enjoying our performance. Okay, we're going to do this by ear, perhaps with a little bit of personal taste. We're going to choose a super plain 6-string bar chord. Let's say this G on the 3rd position. We're going to just play a strum and then go play the individual strings. We're going to try to remember the functions of the strings. Listen for the functions of the strings. See if we can print them in our ears and remember them. So we have 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with tucking the low E in a bit, so we can hear more of the mid-range of this chord coming out. The low E is definitely very overbearing. I think I'm gonna start with a full turn, which is quite dramatic, because a little goes a long way. I think I went a bit overboard already. I'm gonna tuck it back a quarter turn. Raise it a quarter turn again. gives a little bit more strength. Nah, that major third is nagging. It's quite in tune, so it's not so annoying. I'm gonna tuck it in a little bit. I'm gonna tuck it in half a turn. Tuck it in a little bit more. What I'm trying to listen for is to have it compete with our B string. The perfect fifth. A little bit less so we can hear this B coming up a bit. Of course, it's all subtle. Now it's there. Also makes it sound a bit more glassy, I think. I like it, more woody. Maybe a little bit more. Then we call it quits on this G string. Quarter turn. You can now see that it's visually starting to drop under the pickup cover. And now we're losing it. Half a quarter turn, 8 turn up. Yeah, I think that's acceptable. What do you think? You can find it in the chord, but it's not nagging at us. I'm gonna go to a basic E chord here. Let's work a bit on the D string here. It's a tonic. Na. I'm gonna bring it up a bit so you can actually hear it, because now it's just gone. I think it's a bit disappointing. You can see the wax coming from under the screw. That means that these are wax potted pickups. These burst buckers. Let's do a little scale. More, but not too much, because now it's a bit starts to become a bit out of whack. Yeah, now it's there. Let's see if we need to do A string work. It's perfect fifth. Of help. Just a quarter turn, not too much. To reduce competition, I'm gonna lower the D string a little bit. Quarter turn. Bring up the A in 8 of a turn. Yeah, that starts to feel balanced, I think. Okay. Let's give our B string a little bit of power. Somehow the high E has a beautiful voice, I think. It's okay to have this little ping, so to say. For the B. Can use a little bit more help. Maybe the settings were a bit out of whack. already feels like the response is just more even and it feels a bit more natural. The guitar feels quicker, so to say. Yeah. So here it makes a difference to my ears. I don't know how this comes across to you on the recording, so please let me know in the comments if you have a thought on this. It's very much appreciated. Let's move on to the bridge pickup now. I'm going to do the bridge pickup first before listening to the middle position, because once they are both in check, we're going to end up with a really beautiful middle position as well. Sounds a little bit annoying in a way. I don't know what it is, but it's a bit of the same thing, right? Yeah. You know what? I think I'm going to raise the low end of the whole pickup slightly before we start doing our work. What I was looking for is just a little bit more mid-range. Sort of a low mid-range. Instead of the bite only. Small difference, but it makes a difference. Let's take an annoying chord here, our basic classical G chord. With this low major third here. It's gonna be a nice test if we can get a beautiful sound out of that. Again, doesn't sound bad, but it definitely needs a bit of help. Okay, tucking in the low E. Start with a quarter turn. Sounds a bit more relaxed now. Tucking in the G string as expected. Let's take this B6 here. It's not so apparent, but I'm gonna tuck it in just a quarter turn again. Maybe that's already enough. It's weird what that does. By tucking in the G string, in general, on the other pickup as well, it also widens up the sound a bit. There's just more room for the lows and the highs. Let's go back to the neck. Just to compare. Bridge pickup has become a little bit too aggressive. Let's lower this bit. That's the whole pickup, the low end of the pickup. Okay. I'm going to raise the B string just a hair, not too much because you can already hear it. And also raising the high E about a quarter turn. Looking for the B string. Perfect fifth. It's there. Okay, took a 10-minute break to freshen up the ears, to fill myself up. Let's check it again. Pretty beautiful B, I think it's fine. The high E can still have a little bit more apparency. 8 of a turn. It's okay. That's the A string, the perfect fifth in E chord. I can hear that and I think it's okay. It doesn't need more, but the D string does. Or our tonic. It's nowhere. Just falls into the chord. It's not necessarily a problem, but let's see if we can give it a bit of its voice. 1/3 of a turn. Compared to the neck pickup. There it's there. On the bridge pickup, it's not there. Let's raise it a bit more. What do you think? I think it can be improved even more. I'm gonna drop the A string just a hair. Hopefully open up this pickup a bit further, but it's a bit difficult here to get the D. Now it's there. Let's see what the middle position sounds like. Sweet. I think that sounds fine. Okay, I've dialed it up a bit. Let's see the end results. Out. And the bridge pickup. So there you have it. Set up the individual pole pieces on your electric guitar's pickup. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts on the process, and also if you think rock and roll is the devil's music as well. or if you have any questions in general. Everything is read through and very much appreciated. Up until then, please take care, behave, and we'll see each other soon.